match at Saturday night's main event against LA Knight. He appeared to have injured himself. It looked like a leg. Raj, you are our intrepid journalist, so I want to come to you with this one. There's been a lot of stuff going back and forth on the internet about the nature of this injury, the length of time of this injury. What's your take on the Seth Rollins situation?
So by all accounts, it appears that, I mean, the one thing that seems pretty consistent is that he's injured. Now, there are some reports that he may have been injured already, and they used that angle as a cover-up. But from the real, sources that are out there, like PW Insider, it's legit. And he got hurt in that match. It made no sense, really, for LA Knight to win in that position.
Mm-hmm. And could I just add to that, as a wrestler, there's no way on God's green earth that you're doing a slingshot from the top rope into the ring and then following it up with a lion salt if your knee's affected whatsoever. So that was in real time what we saw. And I love the go home to it, because if you look closely, LA Knight was enough of a professional to hook his good leg. If you go back and watch it in slow motion, he hooked his safe knee 1, 2, 3 for the count, which just continues to show that this guy's a veteran. He is ready for the big opportunity. Sorry, Seth Rollins. Happy for LA Knight, if I'm being real about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good moment for LA Knight in a lot of different ways. But Matt, I wanted to get your take real quick as well on when you have someone like Seth Rollins, because you've obviously been in many locker rooms, and Seth Rollins is clearly a big part of the WWE locker room. When an injury like this happens, he's in the middle of a lot of stuff going on TV. He's kind of one of the faces of the company. How does that impact the rest of the locker room when something like this happens?
I honestly think, because the way Paul Heyman, we'll get to this later, how he set it up on Raw tonight, saying, hey, look, my guys got till June to cash this briefcase in. If WWE's smart, whether this guy is on a knee brace, he tore his ACL, his LCL, his MCL, whatever it is, you still have him out there cutting promos. And continue to do his annoying laugh and get everybody annoyed with him. But it's also, but at the same time, you can still get him on television because of his dickability, for lack of a better word, right? As a heel. And again, continue to build that. Look, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to cash in. Don't forget about me.
Hashtag dickability. Get it trending. One of my favorite moments of the weekend, though, that was a positive, and it also came from Saturday night's main event, is, as my good friend James Kincaid calls him, Box Office Billy. Bill Goldberg gets his retirement match. End of an era for a lot of people. Raj, I want to go back to you on this one too, because I think you and I have similar views of Goldberg. He was actually one of my all-time favorites, and I'm one of the few people, I think, that no matter how many times he comes back, no matter how short his matches are, whatever, I'm always like, Goldberg, Goldberg.
Good.
Dude, Raj, break it down for me. What did you think of this retirement? What do you think of Goldberg? What's his legacy? Break it all down for me.
Well, I've been following Goldberg's career since the beginning. I was there the night he won the U.S. title from Raven at the Pepsi Center in Denver. I was there the night he returned in Denver. And you had the governor of the state at ringside chanting Goldberg. It was surreal. I mean, I think so many of the newer fans do not understand how gigantic Goldberg was. Yes. And you see, like, the IWC, they're bitching, they're complaining, hey, all right, Goldberg, we don't want to see Goldberg. But then you hear his pop, you hear the reactions of the people that are actually there. I mean, he gets bigger pops than anyone on the show. He's so unique, he's so different, that I thought it was great. The one thing that I thought was terrible was obviously his retirement speech getting cut off. And by doing that, it just made WWE look bad. Because, they wouldn't do that for the NFL. They wouldn't do that with the NBA. They wouldn't cut off a big speech. And I think WWE, when they went to commercial, they knew they had like 2 minutes left and there wasn't enough time for him to do the speech. They should have just said, pose to the crowd, Michael Cole put you over, and then we'll play the whole speech. And then you do your speech after the show goes off the air, and we'll air the whole thing on Raw. Because I just think that little things like that just I thought that looked bad.
Can I add to that, Jack?
Yeah, feel free.
So I agree with both of you. I was in college back in the day where I was desperately trying to get a Monday Nitro party at Monmouth University. I was a football and basketball player on scholarship at the time. And it was the cool. This is when wrestling and fans today, oh, it's on Netflix. It's never been popular. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say any other language. No, it wasn't. It was more popular then. I'll take it to my grave in the Attitude Era, where girls, attractive girls, cheerleaders, dance team members, girls athletes on scholarship as well would come to my dorm where I tag team with baseball, football, and basketball players. There was like 30 of us in this suite, and we would host our own pony keg Monday Nitro parties. And yes, we would go to Raw on break. I'm just keeping it a buck because at the time it was about Goldberg. That's how big this dude was. And everybody in college knew who this dude was. Everybody. Guys were in the gym copying his workout of doing Goldberg, just so you know, his trap workout was going through an entire rack of dumbbells from the 50s all the way to the 150s and back down to the 150s again. And like every guy in college, I swear to you, that was an athlete, was copying it because this was the coolest guy ever. And we were all enamored with him, guys, girls. I swear to God that we're not wrestling fans. Everybody loved this guy. And you're right. You cannot say enough about how over he was. And I know they're making more money now. But when I talk about popularity, I mean when you go into the street, go to a grandma and say, do you know who Bill Goldberg is? Back then, yes, she did. Go to a grandpa. Do you know who Goldberg is? Oh, yeah. Hey, rando person I never met in the supermarket waiting in front of me. Do you know who Goldberg is? Yup. That's how over this business was back then with popularity. And I saw Raj made a post on Twitter about that. The people had no idea because they're trying to compete it with money, which is very important. Yes, it is. But it's not even close to popularity and pop culture. It's a major difference between the two.
I love that you mentioned the traps, by the way, because when I watched Goldberg, I was the same way. I was like, you're trying to get as big as possible. Never got anywhere near there. But yeah, that was the first person I ever saw where I was like, his shoulders are incredible. Who is this guy?
Yes. Yes.
I do got to say, though, I love the little details they did add. I agree with you, Raj. I think cutting off the speech was a huge bummer. But I love that they had Doug Dillinger and the cat walking him out for that last walkout. I love that even Charles Robinson was the referee.
Yeah.
I think just all those little details. Somehow wrestling, and I don't know exactly when it happened, but I looked at like Sting's retirement and obviously Goldberg just now. Like, I love how wrestlers are getting like real, like beautiful send-offs now instead of just, he lost on Raw one night and then we never saw him again. You know, really well done by the WWE, except for the cutoff of the speech.
And well deserved, you know, because Goldberg really, even though he was in WWE technically longer than he was in WCW, I mean, he's really a WCW guy. And for them to give that big send off to a WCW guy was pretty cool.
And I think there's a lot to do with it. I know they like Hunter put him over huge in the press conference, but Hunter's the same Hunter that on Tough Enough season 1 went on there completely burying him, if you remember. Oh, you're like a guy with two moves? You're not a fan of the sport. Please. That guy was kicking your ass in ratings with respect. But with that said, I just want to add one thing. Gunther pulled out, and we all knew he would. We all knew this would be the perfect send-off for Goldberg because of how stiff, how much of a man, whatever you want to call it, the way Gunther works was the perfect matchup for Goldberg to be sent off into the moonlight. It was perfect.
Yeah, we got to give Gunther some credit. Yeah. We'll talk about him later tonight, but there's been a lot of legends that Goldberg has been in the ring with, and we've come back saying, man, that wasn't the best match ever. Gunther made this a great matchup. And I mean, the whole thing looked great, and there's that incredible picture of Goldberg taking a chop from him, but he's got kind of like a grin on his face.
Yes.
It's one of the coolest pictures of all time. I love it. And Gunther's got to be up there with those guys that can truly have a match with anybody, and it's going to become great. I don't think there's anyone you could put in the ring with Gunther that he's not going to make it great.
So real quick, before we move on, guys, I'm just going to put it out there. Gunther is your favorite pro wrestler's wrestler. I promise you this.
I just got to say one more thing. I think if you were to take a poll of how many people thought the Goldberg match would go longer than 10 minutes, you'd probably get like 10% maybe. And it went like 16 minutes, and it was good. It was Goldberg's best match or second best match since he returned, and the match with Brock. So I thought it was awesome. So many people were excited to wanting to crap on this match before it happened, and it happens, and it was great. So hats off to Goldberg. What an awesome career, and him going out on his terms, healthy, looking great. It's awesome to see.
Yep.
And look, if Goldberg wants to come back, I'm still here for it. I don't care. Someone who we're hoping comes back, Adam Cole. He unfortunately had to relinquish the TNT title due to health concerns. And as of this time, I'm still not sure what exactly it is. I've seen people tweet about it, but I don't take that for a whole lot. Again, I'm going to go back to you, Raj, because you're our intrepid reporter. You have all the you have all the ins and outs of what's going on here. Adam Cole, baby, is do we know what's going on? Is he going to be okay?
Well, there was a report from Fightful that it was a concussion, and Brian Alvarez he had said that Adam Cole was actually ready to go out there and announce his retirement, and then apparently his words were that cooler heads prevailed. Adam Cole has had just one devastating injury over another. I really hope he comes back better than ever because the guy's a star. He has everything. He gets the fans to care. He can go. I mean, if he wants to. If he doesn't want to come back, if the injuries have been a drag and it's just not worth it to him, obviously more power to whatever he chooses to do. But if he wants to come back, I really hope he does. With concussions, you just never know. You see guys like Finn Balor and other, just so many wrestlers that have had concussions. Some come back in a few weeks, some it takes months, and some it's a career ender.
So me as a dumbass pro wrestler, one of my biggest heat spots was always a chair shot to my head. So once the Chris Benoit thing happened, they started keeping tabulations on actual pro wrestlers' concussions, and I've had 21 since 2008. And that's my own doing. That was my own lazy heat spot or a lazy way for me to get knocked down or a nut shot. And there's tons of videos out there to make fun of me taking like thousands of nut shots. You can watch them. But nonetheless, my point is we all make the decision on our own accord. I'm not saying about Adam. I'm saying about me. But here's what I'll say. That guy has an amazing ability to make people emotionally invest in him. He's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but like you can't debate about how impressive his matches always are, how much energy and everything he pours into every single match he's ever been a part of, whether it's NXT, the Ring of Honor before that, or AEW. And so we all want to see him come back if he can, safe and soundly. But brother, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, but if you are, please get with Chris Nowinski. I did it myself after I left wrestling. I found out a lot of things I wasn't aware of. And listen, when I pass away, as morbid as this sounds, I've donated my brain to that society to do more research on concussions because that's the only way we can get our data. Or we like I'm a doctor. Chris Nowinski and company can get that positive data on what are concussions truly doing to people's brains and athletes' brains, whether it's the NFL, NHL, even Major League Baseball, some of them as well, along with professional wrestlers as the stars of the show, unfortunately, to figure out what's the best way to go moving forward and how to protect it. If you watch the Performance Center, when these rookies come in there, they're wearing crash pads on their head. They're literally wearing helmets, neck guards. Holy crap, where was this when I started? but it's smart. It's so freaking smart. And we've come a long way. We have in the last 20 years on this subject. And I hope to God, because I know how bad Adam had always want to be a main event star. His brother, if you're watching this, you've already accomplished that ad nauseum, like times 10. You've already done this. So if that's your reason to keep coming back, don't do it. Take care of yourself and know that you'll always have your own spot. as one of the greatest. I don't say that loosely.
Mm-hmm.
Huge fan of his. He can outwork anybody in that ring and make others that are not good look even better. Microphone in the ring.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I agree with you. When I think of the best times of NXT, and there's a lot of them, he's one of the people I'd put on my NXT Mount Rushmore.
I would
And
too.
he's done good things since then as well, I believe. So I'm hoping everything works out okay. And I echo Chris Nowinski doing stuff that is probably going to help countless lives afterwards is what he's figuring out. So.
Yeah.
And not just NXT, but his feud with MJF and AEW. I mean, the whole thing until they went to the Devil stuff. Before the Devil stuff, it was huge. Partnership and everything.
It was my favorite storyline, Raj. It was.
It was awesome. I mean, it headlined All In. I mean, it was huge, and it was doing huge numbers. They did a gigantic number on Collision one time when they challenged for the tag titles. So, I mean, he's been involved in some really big stuff.
Yes, sir.
Well, before we start breaking down all the big news that happened over the weekend as far as the actual events themselves go, we, of course, had the shows that led in to those shows this past week. The ratings have been coming in, and Raj, you're our ratings analysis guru. Tell us who is getting good news and who's getting bad news in the ratings department.
So far, it's all bad news for WWE, and I mean, not bad news, but
it's down.
Yeah, it's down. Let me start with Collision. Collision last Thursday, it aired on Thursday instead of Saturday because both WWE Saturday Night's main event, and obviously the biggest thing is they had their All In pay-per-view. So they aired it on Thursday. It did 323,000 viewers and a 0.07 18 to 49 demo rating. That is the worst demo rating they've done on a Thursday night. Ooh. And also the worst demo rating they've done when they're not against a WWE pay-per-view, I think ever. So Thursday nights, it's not seeing an improvement by airing on Thursdays as opposed to Saturdays. I think a lot of people thought Thursday nights would be a better night for Collision. Maybe if they're consistent, it'll go up some, but it's not going to be significant. It doesn't seem like. And then SmackDown on Friday night, they were obviously up from the July 4th episode. They were up 20% viewers, 1.4 million viewers, and a 0.37 18 to 49 demo rating. Now, and that's up 16% from the 4th of July. Now, on the surface, those sound good, but the show is back to 2 hours, so those numbers should be up from other weeks quite significantly because you had that third hour dragging you down. But it's actually down from recent weeks and on the low end of what the show's been doing this year. So they've been a little cold. Raw has been doing their lowest numbers on Netflix. So it's just one of those things. They're a little cold right now. And, now with Roman Reigns coming back tonight, I mean, obviously things getting in place with SummerSlam. This usually happens where you see the decline in May. Usually they come back a little in June. But, so far it's down.
Now ratings are typically.
Hang on. Time. What about WWE scores, Raj?
What about them?
I just heard AEW's. I didn't hear.
No, I just talked about SmackDown.
I didn't hear SmackDown. I'm sorry.
Oh, the ratings I was just talking about was SmackDown. SmackDown being down.
I missed the SmackDown part. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, SmackDown was 3 hours, moved to 2 hours. They were up from the 4th of July. My video keeps cutting out. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. Keep going. We hear you clearly.
But SmackDown, they're lower than what they've been doing the rest of the year, even though they're back to 2 hours when they should be higher. And then Raw on Netflix, they've been doing lower numbers. Last week, they did start earlier. When a show starts earlier, a lot of people will read the results at work or on their phone. So that could be part of the reason. We'll find out what Raw's ratings on Netflix are tomorrow.
Now, obviously summer ratings are typically lower than other times of the year. Raj, what's your take on with Collision? I always feel it's a little unfair to even judge because what day is it going to be on? Who even knows when it's going to be airing? But with SmackDown, is there something to let's say I'm just a WWE fan and I know I've got 3 PLEs coming that weekend. Is there something to look, whatever happens on SmackDown, I'm just going to be brought up to speed during the PLE. I don't necessarily need to catch it. Is there something to SmackDown being right before all these PLEs that are costing it ratings, you think?
I can see that. I can see, people seeing Saturday night's main event coming up and being like, oh, that's the big show. I'll skip SmackDown and just catch Saturday night's main event. There wasn't anything really big advertised for SmackDown. And again, with these ratings, you can never go off of 1 week. But it has been down overall a little the last month and a half. So we'll see. But now, with SummerSlam coming up, you're going to get Cody back in the mix, John Cena back in the mix, now Roman Reigns. So things should start going back up.
Matt, I want your opinion on something, and it kind of goes with the ratings here. Heat Wave was announced for August 24th, NXT show. It's the same day as AEW's Forbidden Door. Now, a lot of people are talking about how there's WWE intentionally trying to counter program, have shows on the same days. We'll talk about the individual shows this weekend in a second, but what's your take on that? Do you think, hey, this is business, it's competition, it's great? Do you think like, hey, you're not really helping anyone by doing this? What's your take on the idea of trying to go against each other?
I've got to call a spade a spade. As much as I love the women's evolution, I know we're going to get into it. As much as I love the women's evolution pay-per-view, had AEW still planned to put their pay-per-view in the original time slot they had slotted out, I'm sorry. That is my biggest winner. And I know WWE fans of mine are going to hate me for this. I don't care. That AEW All In Texas pay-per-view, by far and away to me, by far, not even debatable, was the best pro wrestling over this entire last weekend. So my point is they should have not worried about what WWE is doing and continued with their plan moving forward, because they had layered storylines ready to go that were going to play out on television and resolve conflicts.
Well, let's talk about these shows. Before we do, I do want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's joined us here in the live chat. Like we got Blopey, we got Akshay Kumar, we got Baljeezy, Big Fletch, Fernando, Gina Forever coming through, Steven with a PH, and Matt Velasquez, Steven in the chat, Bobby, so many more. Thank you guys for joining us. I want to remind everyone to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a show. Our chats are for subscribers only, so if you want to be a part of the chat, you got to subscribe, and we want you to be a part of the chat because we're going to be interacting with all of your comments throughout. But to get your chat to the top of the list, to make sure we definitely comment on it, use that super chat. You use the super chat, we will definitely be answering your question. That's the sneaky trick there if you want us to talk about it. So make sure to do that. And also follow all the stuff going on Podcast Heat Wrestling, where we're celebrating the latest and greatest in pro wrestling with Hall of Famers, legends, and today's stars like WWE Hall of Famers, including Eric Bischoff, Lex Luger, Mick Foley, Jim Ross, Jeff Jarrett, JBL, Tully Blanchard, The Godfather, and more appearing across the network, plus an exclusive series with ECW founder Todd Gordon, WWE Creative Force David Sahadi, Attitude Era favorite D'Lo Brown, and more that you can't see anywhere else.
Ron Simmons. You guys get to hear from freaking Ron Simmons, you lucky sons of guns.
Damn. We got but the big news here this week, this Wednesday, Mike Santana is joining the channel Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern to discuss this weekend Slammiversary. Matt, you've been around wrestling your whole life, but man, this seems to be Podcast Heat. Seems to be the hottest place in pro wrestling podcasting right now.
Legit. It totally is. And we get an active wrestler like somebody like Mike Santana that just wrestled for the TNA title on NXT and TNA. It's great to have I can't call him a younger talent because he's been in the business. He's a veteran now. And I want to see him get his gold finally because he's busted his tail. And the fact that you all get to hear from him live and direct. Guys, this wasn't allowed when I was an active wrestler with WWE nor TNA back in the day. So subscribe so you can hear from talents just like Mike.
Well, I want to get into, as we talked about, all the stuff that happened this weekend. I want to talk just broad strokes because we don't want to be here for too long, but All In. And Matt, you said it at the top. I think if we look at all of the shows this weekend, for my dollar, All In was the winner. As I was taking notes, I felt like every match had something that I was taking away from it as big or impacting the rest of the show or whether it be Dustin Rhodes winning the championship for the first time, or whether EVPs no longer being EVPs. And that's not even the biggest stories. You know what I mean? Like everything had something. Talk to me overall thoughts and takeaways from All In.
Stakes. AEW, one of the biggest knocks on AEW has always been, at least that I would hear as a former pro wrestler, oh, it's a great company with great athleticism, guys that can do insane athletic moves that nobody's ever seen before, but they don't know how to place it in a match, nor have any ring psychology. And worse, they have no storytelling whatsoever. That was put to shame with this entire pay-per-view from top to bottom. And I know it was a very long one. I know it was. But I was shocked by, I shouldn't say shocked, because all the talents are very, very good at what they do. But like the Swerve Strickland, for example, Strickland, if you go back in time and you remember last Dynamite leading into All In Texas, they had one of the best backstage vignette promos, whatever you want to call it, between him and Hangman Page. And I'm trying to think of this myself, be put in this spot, brother Jack, of going, okay, so I just got done burning down my opponent's family's home for decades before now. And my opponent was creeping in my kid's bedroom where my baby's sleeping in oh my God. So now, Matt Morgan, you're being asked to make it realistic all these months, maybe in a year later, of saying how you're going to forgive and forget. That would be, I do not have enough range to even pretend I could have pulled this off. Not at all, Jack. I would have suffered immensely. I would have sucked if I had to do this because I didn't have the range to do it. But watching how both Hangman and Swerve Strickland played this off to perfection with not giving an inch on what each other did to one another. And then the biggest hanging fruit, the biggest Easter egg in that promo was when Hangman Page didn't take his chain out of the room. And once it was done, they forgave each other, or supposedly forgave each other. You see Swerve Strickland grappling that chain, and it came into the storyline, which I loved in the main event, which helped his boy win. It was so much of that, these Easter eggs, non-stop between Darby Allin, Daniel. Oh my God, Bryan Danielson coming back, huge pop, and everybody's like, remember when Cody won his title? And there were so many layers to that finish, and we all were there for it because Cody was finishing the story, right, Jack? Yeah. So we were all part of it. Taker, Rock, whoever the hell, the plumber, we didn't care. We just want to see Cody win the title.
Right.
We wanted to see Hangman Page win the title, so we were all aboard with all the hijinks and tomfoolery that finally got to the finish. And I thought that was one of the best matches, honest to God, storytelling-wise, I'd ever seen in my life as a wrestling fan, not a wrestler, fan. And that just put the candle, on, if you will, on the ice cream cake of an amazing pay-per-view from top to bottom. We don't have enough time to get into it, but come on, Timeless, Tony Storm, and Mercedes Moné blew the roof off that B. They destroyed it with their storytelling. Great false finishes. Nobody thought Mercedes is going to put her over. She did. So now it makes sense that Mercedes is winning all these 1,009 different titles wherever she wrestles, not putting any of their talents over. It meant more that the champion finally went over on her. There's so many storylines I can get into that were capped off here, and AEW deserves their damn just due.
Yeah, I 100% agree across the board. And I think this is what a lot of people talk about with the stories that are the AEW fans. I think sometimes they get made fun of online for this, but you do have to pay attention. They won't spoon feed you the stories, like the chain issue. They did not remind us. They don't beat us over the head with it. It's something, if you pay attention, you see and you get it, but they're not going to, like I said, beat you over the head with it. But so many of the things throughout this, and Raj, my big takeaway with All In was that it felt like they took a ton of risks going in the build to this that could have come out flat. But it feels like so many of them, in my opinion, worked out great. Like not showing us the championship for a year Everyone was against it. Everyone hated it. I wasn't a big fan of it. But then when Hangman actually took it out of the suitcase, I popped. I was like, this is so awesome. This moment is so worth it.
I did too.
Raj, what were your takeaways on All In?
I thought it was great. I thought, and I'm sorry, guys, my video is out. I've been trying to fix it, but
It's okay.
I'll make sure it's working next week. But I thought it was the best built AEW pay-per-view that they've had in years, probably since the first All In. I thought everything went off well. The points you talked about all made sense, and AEW year over year they've been down in almost every category where you have actual numbers, right? Like people can make up what they're doing on Max and everything. And I think this will be the pay-per-view that's up from last year. They'll be up year over year. I think the build was great. WWE, I get why they put NXT up against All In. It doesn't hurt them at all. It doesn't hurt WWE at all. It doesn't cost them anything. And with the WWE fans, it's like, anyone's on the fence. It chips away at AEW a little, but whatever. It is what it is. But the thing that pissed me off was doing Evolution. I don't get why you're doing that the next day. It's one thing if it was before All In, because you're getting people tired and not wanting to see All In. But doing it the day after, when people have already seen so many shows, Saturday night's main event was already on after All In. You didn't need something on after that. I just felt like it hurt the women. They had a hell of a show. I thought that was the second best show of the weekend. And I just don't get what they accomplished by doing that, because it didn't hurt AEW. I think all it did was hurt Evolution, and they could have done even more fans. They did, over 8,000. I think they could have done easily over 12 on a different weekend, and it would have gotten way more attention. And I just felt like it just got the shaft.
Jack, sorry, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, Jack.
No, Matt, you take it away.
I just want to jump in there and say I agree with that. And the other knock, if you're looking at it from an AEW fan's perspective, is why does WWE feel the need to put a show in there at all? Because when you're number one, you don't sweat number two. And I know people, come on, man, that's stupid. Look what happened with WWF and WCW. WCW eventually took over. Guys, I'm not being a douche here. It ain't happening here. It ain't happening. Okay. Right. So I never understood the reason to get a little, chippy shot there instead of realizing, I know WWE is not going to do it because they don't care about the overall business as a whole. But those of us that are wrestling fans just want to see great wrestling, great storylines. We don't give a crap which company any of these people are from. We just want to see the best storylines at all and get behind people and emotionally invest in them. We just want to see it like I did back when I was in college, clicking back and forth between WCW Nitro and Raw. I always kept it on Nitro and would click to Raw until eventually Stone Cold took off, and then I reversed my channels at that point. But when NWO came on, you could not get me to shut. I don't give a crap how big my Nitro parties got. I would never turn it off at all. When you have a couple of people going, I want to see Stone Cold, I want to see Raw. Nope, we're keeping it right here for NWO.
I knew I liked it. I was a huge NWO guy. I still am. I always say, I said I was NWO for life, and I'm still living. So I guess I'm still NWO, baby.
Yes,
Raj, I have a question I want to ask you, but Matt, I want to go back to you. And this is, I don't want to stay too long on AEW, but something happened that I want to get your take on specifically is the Dustin Rhodes winning the TNT Championship. His first singles match or first singles championship in AEW as a wrestler. What does that mean? Because as a fan, I'm like, oh, that's cool. It doesn't hit me quite that way as maybe like a wrestler may feel it. So what is Dustin Rhodes feeling? Is he just like, hey, this is business, whatever? Or is there like a pride to it? What's going on with his head?
I know him personally, so I know like he's going to pour into it emotionally. And maybe I'm wrong because the Dustin I knew back then is now, 15, 20 years older now, right? Yeah. I am too. I just have to assume that it's business as normal. But at the same time, he got to do it in Dallas, Texas, right? His stomping grounds, his dad's stomping grounds. There's a lot of history there, so that part's cool. And it's talk about AEW making the right decision, not long term, okay, but for the pop of the finish, if you will, of making the right decision in that moment of, hey, we're being dealt a very weird hand here. Adam ain't going to be able to go. We need to put this on somebody else. That was guaranteed to get the reaction that we all saw it get, and it added an emotional reaction to it. So it was the right decision in the moment. Long term, is that the right call? No.
Raj, now I want your thoughts on just overall the WWE program that we saw this weekend, but I want your take on, people talk about how the WWE is doing this because they want to control the narrative, as they say, where people will be talking about them instead of the other company, AEW. What did your timeline look like this weekend? I know everyone's algorithm is different. I felt like AEW was the most talked about thing, and then a few things from Evolution came in, obviously, on Sunday. I feel like AEW on my algorithm seemed to control the conversation for the most part on Saturday. What did yours look like?
Well, I was actually gone on Saturday. Like, I didn't watch these shows until like yesterday and today. But I did check Twitter and stuff. And, obviously it's AEW's biggest show of the year. I think that, that and the Goldberg match and Seth Rollins getting injured, obviously, were the things that dominated the weekend. And the rest was, rest should have had more. Again, I get why WWE does it. I don't think the Evolution was necessary, but like on sites like Reddit and stuff, if you go there now, or if you went there this morning, the stuff you're seeing coming out of the weekend is Evolution, because the other stuff, kind of got old and expired. But I think I just don't get it as much of a strategy, because I think it hurts their show more overall than what people are talking about.
He's right. And what sucks about it is we saw one of the best main events, guys, girls. I don't give a crap what their sex was. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky was an absolute burn burner. Like, we overuse that term. That match, when they went into the double down, was everybody's jaws were on the ground by this point, right? And then we saw the title change that came. That was cool. That was an added bonus. But I think it would have hit so much harder. I would have reversed everything, right, Raj? I would have went with,
Evolution.
Evolution leading it off. But even if there's a way to have done it, I don't know how you would have done it. But before even SmackDown, just because the watering down started from SmackDown to SNME to the NXT brand, right? You have AEW. I would have went with that first because of how meaningful that whole pay-per-view is supposed to be and is, for the record. But that main event was absolute gangbusters. One of the best matches, pro wrestling matches, I'm not exaggerating, that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think if it was next weekend, if they just pushed it to next weekend,
we
would have been saying, we would have been talking about as it could have been one of the best shows of the year. But now it's kind of clumped in with everything else. We're like, oh yeah, it was a crazy weekend.
Yeah, you don't want it too close to SummerSlam either, but I get your point. Another weekend for sure. I do gotta say, I do gotta say one last thing about AEW. I had kind of stopped before, Raw was required viewing on Monday night and Dynamite was required viewing on Wednesday. And AEW last year had gotten so bad to me that I stopped watching it live. Like, I was watching on my DVR. Remember last year they had the Jack Perry, showing the footage from backstage, the Young Bucks attacking Tony Khan, and Tony Khan going with the neck brace on the NFL. It got so bad that I just couldn't watch it, live anymore, and I'd have to skip through it. And this year they've really turned it around. They've really, Tony Khan has gotten a lot more mature. He's not acting childish in a lot of the press conferences, and he's just kind of ignoring the competition, doing his own thing. The storylines have gotten a lot more focused. So props to AEW. They've stopped the bleeding. They've gotten way better than they were last year, and hopefully they can keep it up.
Tunnel vision. It feels like Tony's tunnel vision in on his own ish right now, and he needs to continue to stay that way, because that pay-per-view, like you hit the nail on the head, Raj, that's the best all-in I've seen since the first. Without question.
The ratings this week on Wednesday will be interesting to see if this show is able to drum up some more interest for them. And speaking of shows drumming up interest, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe this show, and make sure you send out to your friends. Of course, this is the debut Massive Heat, so we want to grow the show. So make sure to go to your social media, share it out there, bring your friends in, have them join the live chat. We'll all have a fun conversation. Steven in the chat, by the way, asks, and now I'll throw this to you. Gunther beat Goldberg. Rumors say Cena's last opponent. Does it end with Brock at WrestleMania?
No. Well, I can't say just this. I can't just disagree with that like that quickly. No. It's funny because they went through Orton so quickly. I would have relied heavily that would have been Randy in a perfect world, but I have a feeling there's something gonna, and I hope, maybe I'm hoping as a fan here, it might be wrong, but I'm hoping as a fan, I'm still a fan at age 48 here, watching like the rest of you, that Cody beats him for the title here. And it doesn't come down to December for somebody to take the title off him. If it is, I hope it's Punk. But Brock, no. I mean, Brock would make sense because he's unbeatable. I get your reasoning on this, Steven. Oh, shoot. It's our boy, Steve Martuchelli. Yeah, we know him. He's our boy. He's our friend.
Yeah. Old-time fan. Yeah,
you're right. I'm so sorry I didn't see his last name until just now. But, I'd be shocked to see Brock come back in any capacity. But if it did, like, he doesn't need that win on Cena leaving and retiring. That doesn't do anybody any justice. I could see Cena putting somebody over that needs that win, or it's a CM Punk for the title, or Cody Rhodes again if he doesn't win it here and now coming up. So that's my opinion.
I think he means that the rumor is that he's Cena's last opponent this year because Cena's retiring this year. And
December.
Does Gunther face Brock at WrestleMania?
Gunther beat Goldberg.
I see.
His last opponent does it. And with Brock? I don't get it. So you think he's asking if Gunther versus Brock at Mania?
Yeah. But I think to your point, like it'd be surprising to see Brock come back.
I'd be shocked to see Brock come back in any capacity.
Steven's saying, Raj, you got it right. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on Brock.
It'd be great. That would be a great physical matchup. Let's be crystal clear. When Brock decides to go in business for himself, and I've been in the ring when he's done this, and Gunther chops him too hard, and Brock goes, "You're a worker. I'm a real ish kicker. Screw you, kid," and just start nuking him on the back of his neck 300 times in a row, which I witnessed in person. That would be hilarious, but no, it ain't happening.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that time with Braun Strowman when
my God,
Brock was just saying Brock just flat out just punched him in the head?
I swear, if you watch that in slow motion, you can see Braun's skull move, but like his skin stay where it was, for a second, like a cartoon.
Showing my age at 48, I would tell you this right now. I was in the first angle that turned John Cena babyface of Survivor Series 2003 with Team Lesnar, with me, Nathan Jones, who's taller than me, 1 inch taller, Big Show, Brock Lesnar, and the fifth member was supposed to be John Cena. John Cena turned us down, cut this babyface promo on us, and made fun of Paul Heyman for not wanting to join Team Sasquatch, and made a rap, made fun of us all. But like the rib is like in the middle of that match, if you go back and watch, Brock was always giving and would try to like other especially John here, who was like a half a step below Brock at that time. Brock was our heavyweight champion, and John was the US champion maybe level. And you go back and watch it, you can see like Brock was so good at protecting his size. And it made me watch that tape back myself of when baby faces try to tackle you and take you off your feet, even though you're bigger and you're stronger. F that, Morgan. Watch this. And they put the tape in at catering and made me watch our own match back. It was a 6-man. And Cena tried to tackle him. Brock wasn't having it.
Yeah.
And then Brock just takes his face off with this vicious clothesline that John had no choice but to sell. And like, but Brock, not all of us can get away with that. You're the world champion. I'm like a rookie with 2 weeks of experience, bro.
Right. Come
on.
And you're Brock Lesnar. So
yes.
Steven asks, I remember thinking, what would Brock have done to Jack Perry if he did that to Brock?
He'd be dead. Am I exaggerating? Would be lawn darted into said windshield. I'm not even making fun of it. Fact.
No, I mean, that's not even. For whatever Brock could throw me 40 yards, I'm sure.
Jack, if leadership said something, they too would be lawn darted in fame said windshield. This guy gave no F's at all. You have no idea. Oh my God. You've seen this guy in the air. We have so many stories to share with you on this channel moving forward. I could tell you the best Brock Lesnar airport stories. Oh, fasten your seatbelt, Mr. Lesnar. It was oh God, I got so many great stories.
Oh, well, that's worth subscribing alone. Subscribe, hit the bell. Let's talk about Raw tonight, you guys. We had an interesting Raw this evening, and it started with Naomi, who cashed in at Evolution, won the world title. So she's telling the locker room to proceed with caution, but reckless Rhea Ripley and careless Io Sky do not proceed with caution. They confront the champ, and Adam Pearce says that it'll be a triple threat at SummerSlam. Raj, do you like the idea of this being a triple threat given the situation, or do you prefer a singles match situation?
I feel like they just did a triple threat involving Io and Rhea at WrestleMania. I'd rather a singles match, but that being said, I still think it's great. I think Naomi feels like the biggest she's ever been as a star. Yeah. I thought them. It's crazy. This is the first time ever in Raw history that the first 90 minutes of the show, you didn't have any men's matches or any men's in-ring segments. It was all the women over the first 90 minutes, which has never happened before. And I thought they killed it. I thought Naomi, the first segment was great. And overall, I thought this Raw was just one of the best ones they've done. And Roman being back, he just brings something extra, just makes the show feel that much more special.
That's why you're hyping it up, because your boy Roman's back. Just say that part out loud.
Hey man, he had something. Him and CM Punk and Cody, they just add something to the show that it's just intangible.
I agree.
You can't see Raj, but he's got his finger up right now as he's talking.
He's right. It's superstar appeal, superstar drawability, and he's right on that same thing. It was great to see Roman back, but back to the girls. I'm the same way. I don't like to see it in a three-way. Look, Io Sky has really impressed everybody. She has stepped it up a level with respect to her. She's not Rhea Ripley. Just sorry, end of story. Not even close. In the ring, like wrestling-wise, yeah, sure she is. Over-wise, she's just not there. So I would have liked to see this be a singles match going into it. But the reason why I will accept it to be a triple threat, because Rhea will not eat the pin if they decide to keep it on Naomi.
But I almost feel, oh, sorry. I was going to say, I almost feel like you have Rhea and Io in a separate singles match, because Rhea still has never beaten Io. So you can still do that singles match and never had the finish. And you have Naomi face someone else, because Rhea has gotten a lot of title shots, So it'd be
it's a draw. She should keep it on.
Oh, for sure. But maybe give her a couple pay-per-views where she gets some wins and then gets back in the title picture.
So can I ask you an honest question, Raj? She beats Io Sky in a singles match. You're like, oh my God, yeah, Rhea finally did it. No, because you're smart enough to know they booked her to lose to her on purpose to bring Io up semi to her level, but it's still not there because Rhea's still here and she's here.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want. Do you want Naomi beating Rhea already?
No,
also,
no. So for that reason only, I'm semi okay with the triple threat.
Yeah.
So Io eats it.
Yeah. That's why I'm okay with it being a triple threat, is because Naomi's got to get some wins. She can't lose it in her first defense, and I don't want to see Rhea losing either. So, for me, I'm like, okay, I get it. But I for title matches, I just always prefer singles matches.
Same here.
Like it. But if this wasn't SummerSlam, I'd be like, oh, this is cool. But it also feels like SummerSlam should be the big singles match too.
Hey, Jack, do you mind if I ask our friend who's commented a bunch so far? Ash Kumo's comment says, with Seth's injury, how do you see them pivot in the coming months? I do not take him off television at all. I don't care if he's in a wheelchair, if he's on crutches. Like I said, he blows out his ACL, his LCL, MCL. I hope that's not what it is, but let's pretend as bad as it is, that's what it is. He still has until next June to cash in on that Money in the Bank briefcase. Get him out there because that group needs him for the microphone component of it. He's great at drawing heat, and this is a great chance to really spotlight Braun, in my opinion. by having Seth and the entire group that you have to defeat in order to beat Braun moving forward, like we saw tonight, right? On Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think you keep him on television, no matter what the physical status is. Just keep cutting promos and keep being a jerk. So, or you can do the other way. Get him out of mind, out of sight, and then he cashes it in June. But Paul just kind of screwed it tonight by saying he has all the way to June to cash in. So we're never going to forget that, no matter how many months move by, that this is a possibility. So that's why I think you keep him on television, no matter what the injury is.
Go ahead, Raj.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, and I think you already saw them pivot tonight because you saw them give Braun Breaker that big monster push. They did that with Braun Strowman in 2018, where except Braun won the Gauntlet match, where he destroyed everybody, won the Gauntlet match. They kind of did that with Braun Breaker here, and I think it's going to be Braun and Roman at SummerSlam. It seemed clear that that's where they were going. Unless they do like a tag match with Roman and Jay. I hope they don't do a tag match.
No. Raj, can I just say one thing? I remember that Braun Strowman match, and I'm friends with the guy personally, but I swear to you on this, that did not do more for Braun Strowman back, was it 18, whenever that happened, that Gauntlet match, than what they did tonight for Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Not
even close. Even though Braun Breaker was not the winner, holy ish. He was a Swiss Army knife, bad mamma jamma, untoppable, unbeatable, unstoppable. And whether or not he lost, I don't care. I thought that's how you beat people, the fans, if you will, over the head with the branding hammer of Braun Breaker. They did a great job on it.
Yeah, because I think the original plan was Seth versus Roman, because you had Seth kind of mentioning Roman in the last couple of weeks, and so
big match too. That's a shame on one.
Yeah, I know that would have been awesome.
It would have. So been.
I hope they don't do Roman and Jay against Braun and Bronson. I hope it's a singles match with Roman and
I agree.
Braun.
I will say one last thing on that too is Matt, I like your idea of having Seth on because Braun Breaker is clearly a big superstar, and if Seth's gone for 5 months and it's just Braun with Paul Heyman, then when Seth comes back, there might not be space for him in that group anymore. Braun may outgrow that situation, and then it'll just be weird when he comes back. It'll kind of be like when Edge came back to the Judgment Day, and it's kind of like, we've moved on from you, Edge. We're not really, you're not really part of this anymore.
Great analogy. Good callback. You're right.
Judgment Day took on the Kabuki Warriors. Finn thinks it's a good idea for Dom to escort Raquel and Roxanne to their match, and Roxanne agrees. Dom, even though he's not medically cleared, is very active, helps his team, gets the win. Later in the night, Dom's told that he's going to be reevaluated, and if he's cleared, he's got to face AJ, who is praying to get his shot. Matt, can Dom do wrong?
No, nothing. No segment. You could put him in an outhouse. You can do anything with this guy. He gets himself over. I don't care what it is. Dude, the spot with AJ praying in the background was okay, and it was funny in itself, but it wasn't made until Dom. He's so good. So good.
And he's so good too. The idea of all these girls being interested in him, like now I'm assuming that's where we're going to Roxanne, and him just constantly in trouble about it is just great TV every time it happens.
It's gold. This is why he's going to be the big. I'm telling you, we saw a taste of it at Mania. That ain't nothing compared to what the babyface reaction to him is going to eventually be. He's so good at this. He just is.
You could put him in anything, and I think, he would make that work, and it would be so entertaining.
He will.
Raj, your thoughts on all this, and I want your thoughts on the Kabuki Warriors. Both of these two have come back fairly recently, and neither of them can seem to buy a win. It feels like they lose every time they're out there. Are you selling your stock on Kairi Sane and Asuka, or is this premature?
I think it's premature. I think they're great, but I mean, it's Raquel and Roxanne's time, and they're making chicken salad out of chicken shit with, Liv Morgan's injury. It's there's never a good time to get injured, but she was, so hot, kind of like how Seth Rollins, same thing. He's, really hot as a heel right now. And they're managing to pivot and make it really entertaining TV, like you guys mentioned. And Dom, again, hasn't been able to wrestle like in the last month, but he's still holding his weight as far as these backstage segments and keeping the storylines going. So I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan's picture, even just overlooking at this while it's happening in the back, it's just
perfect.
It's just killing me the whole time.
It's so good. It's so good, guys. I've been in the business. I've seen everything, so I don't get hooked like this. But this one, completely hook, line, sinker. I pop out loud. My kid looks at me like I'm crazy because he doesn't get it. But it's so good, good,
so funny. Joseph Venditti says Bailey and Lyra killed it yet again, and that actually takes us to our next segment. Becky retained at Evolution, so now Bailey and Lyra are facing each other in a best 2 out of 3 falls match. Winner gets a shot at Becky Lynch's title. Things get a little chippy between these two. They're no longer very friendly. We get a lot of aggression out of Bailey in this one. Valkyria gets the win. We'll go to SummerSlam to face Becky Lynch. We get a stare down at the end. Raj, was Lyra the right person to win here?
I think so. And I also think, a lot of people in NXT, knew what a big deal Lyra was. And then she came to the main roster and kind of had a difficult go a little bit at the beginning because, she's not the strongest promo, not the strongest character. And I think these matches, she killed it last night at Evolution. I thought they had the second best match on the show behind Rhea and Io. And then tonight they killed it again, just like Joseph Venditti was saying. It was an awesome match. The crowd was hot. It was all you could ask for. And I think each performance like that keeps raising Lyra's stock.
So in the ring, very true. She's incredible. She really is. Lyra is incredible in the ring, wrestling wise. And the more reps they give her, yes, she's very minutely improving on the microphone with each opportunity they throw her. But let's be crystal clear about all of this. The only reason Becky Lynch has an Intercontinental Champion because she's throwing a favor to her girl, who's going to eventually pin the GOAT, which is Becky, for that title. That's what this whole entire storyline arc is about, and it's going to happen. Problem I don't like with it is Bailey gets the ish end of the stick, and I can't stand to watch her get it because she has more charisma in the pinky of her hand than Lyra has in her entire body with any gimmick you throw at her. Like literally anything you throw at her, any storyline, Bailey's one of the best on the mic. She's one of the best and funniest characters there is, heel or babyface, and has so much god darn charisma. I would have much rather seen me keeping it a buck here. No matter how good Lyra is in the ring, that's what gets me to pay money to want to watch something. It's always going to be their characters. And Bailey's character right now versus Becky's character would be hilarious in this reversal of fortunes of which they would find themselves, because it's always been babyface Bailey versus heelish Becky, or vice versa, but not on this terms where you don't know where Bailey kind of sort of is in this. And I would have liked to have seen her flesh this character out more with another good promo, because the promos is how you flesh it out, storyline wise, with Becky. No disrespect to Lyra, and I know you got to look to your future. I get it. I do. I just don't like the gimmicks, the bows, the feathers, and all that other crap. It's just a distraction to me of them telling me she can't cut a promo yet. She's learning. She's getting better. She's still not there. That's what that tells me when I see all the getup that comes with her outfit to try to make you not remember she's mid on the mic. With respect, as amazing as she is in the ring, she's athletic as crap. And you hit it on the head. She had the best I'd say third best match at Evolution.
I'm always going to be a Lyra Valkyria fan because I watched NXT UK when she was on there. Yeah, me and 4 other people, we were watching NXT UK together. And so whenever you see a wrestler go through a journey like that, you always kind of become attached to them, like you're always rooting for them.
Sure.
But Bailey, to your point, I would say she's like the MVP of
but she gets no run.
So much.
They don't give her her proper due, and it's annoying.
Like you said, she can do anything, and she usually has to do just about anything, and she makes it work. She is so valuable to WWE. But you're right. I feel like, and Raj, I was going to say, I just mentioned the Kabuki Warriors. Bayley has also not won a match since she has returned. I love Dolph Ziggler, but I always say there's a fear of someone becoming Dolph Ziggler, where they're really talented, but I never believe they're going to win. Is Bayley going to be in that situation if she doesn't turn it around?
Well, sometimes, like they did last year where Bayley won the Rumble, when she was a heel. Was that last year?
No, you're right.
Not this last Rumble, but the year before. But sometimes all it takes is a heel turn or something like that to just completely refresh your character.
And to be clear, Raj, Bayley, and to defend what I just argued against, Bayley's 1 or 2 matches always away from a world championship win. Mm-hmm. She came back from a really crappy scenario that cut her out of Mania. I know it's personal stuff, but I just think like that's one of your MVPs of your division. Mm-hmm. You throw her a damn bone. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Vincent R. with a comment says, Dom Mysterio and Hook both started in 2020. They are similar in age and both are sons of Hall of Fame wrestlers. Are you at all surprised that it was Dom who ascended in these 5 years?
Holy crap. Did I miss when Taz was put in the Hall of Fame? Am I that stupid?
I don't know if is Taz in the Hall of Fame?
He's not.
But not because it's WWE run, but because we went for ECW, he should be in for what it's worth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Are you at all surprised that it was Dom who ascended? Hell no. No disrespect to Hook. No, I'm not, because one's under the WWE machine. It's not even close. Debatable when it comes to video packages, pyro, the event itself, the setup of it. WWE is the best in town, guys. You heard me how much I was on the you-know-what of the AEW All In pay-per-view, right? Ad nauseum, right? Nobody can touch WWE when it comes to production and putting people up to make them larger-than-life superstars. It's not even close. It'll never be close in this regard.
I actually am surprised. I would say, because Hook was
getting thought Hook was going to be a bigger star than Dominic Mysterio.
Did you see how Dom looked back in the day?
Like I knew he was like 19 years old. Yeah,
I know, but he did not look like he was going to become
he was a foot tall. He's a foot and a half taller than his dad, who tells me the kid's still growing. He's eating his Wheaties and maturing. Hook's good. Don't get me. He is good, but we know. I don't know. I don't want to crap on Hook because I'm a fan of Hook too. So
it's I will say back when Dom first started and everyone was like, oh, he needs to go to NXT. He needs to learn stuff. Which feels like it was a very long time ago now that I'm remembering this. But yeah, WWE is, I would say to people who don't understand the difference between AEW and WWE, you got to go to a WrestleMania one time and see how they can change a city. It's so big and such a production and everything they do.
They could listen to me. They could take the janitor out of the damn closet right now, wherever they're performing next, and I promise you, they could get the janitor over with their video packages, their entrance and pyro and ballyhoo. I promise you, they could.
I would pay good money for a WWE to put together a hype package for me, just so I can feel good about myself.
Oh, you could talk, Jack. You would pull it. You could talk.
Just, with some music behind the some band that was big a few years ago, but maybe not as big today. Or I guess it'd be The Weeknd now. But let's talk a little bit about Stephanie Vaquer. She wins the Evolution Battle Royal. She's told that she's going to get a shot at the Clash in Paris. Chelsea Green's not happy about it, and she's going to prove it by having a match with Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella, though, even though Secret Service is trying to help out Chelsea Green, Nikki Bella still gets the win. Post-match attack, Vaquer comes out to save the Hall of Famer. Matt, this feels just like a perfect use of a Hall of Famer to make a new star.
100% yes. She's a star on her own, Stephanie Vaquer. She just has that in spades. You can't explain it, right? We've seen tons of pretty girls We've seen tons of females that are great wrestlers. We've seen those that have put the two packages together that also add charisma and microphone ability, microphone skills. She somehow is the whole gosh darn package. And I just saw, if I can answer Steve Marcachulli again, give Lyra a manager, someone like Paige or Gail Kim. I think that I would like that. I'd like either of those two women to do that because they're both, in my opinion, future Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. That could work for her. But yeah, Jack, you're right.
Raj, any takeaways? What are your thoughts on Chelsea Green? I love Chelsea Green.
Oh, the best. The best.
When are we going to see Dom and Chelsea Green interact? Now that's
yes, great analogy. Yes, great comparison.
That's WrestleMania main event right there. Just them crossing each other's paths.
Yeah, no, Chelsea Green is awesome. She's super entertaining. Just you can't stop watching her segments when she's in it. You know, she just steals the scene every time.
I want to say,
guys, if there's ever a wrestler watching this, they both. Dom in the beginning, and now especially her, are great examples of people that were given like this much room on television, if this much. I fought for it to get it. Hey, give me 10 seconds. Just give me a 10-second promo, please. And have made the most of it, especially her. You can put her in any. She got dumped in a freaking dumpster garbage and got more over out of it. Like, are you kidding me? You can't teach that. You cannot teach that. She's got it in spades.
Yeah, she is fantastic. I want to say one last thing about Stephanie Vaquer is I always say I have a friend who doesn't watch a lot of pro wrestling, but he always tunes into like the Royal Rumbles and stuff like that with me.
What do you think?
And I always love to watch Royal Rumble with him because I like to see his reaction when people come out. And you see like what a person doesn't watch a lot of wrestling come out. And when Stephanie Vaquer came out, I remember he just goes, "Oh." I was like, okay. That's all I needed to hear.
And she's not the tallest. She's not the most jacked. There's something about her that you cannot take your eyes off her. Mm-hmm. It's similar to Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, you can't take your eyes off her because she's jacked. She's shredded. She's taller than the rest of them. She's like a superhero character, legitimate, right? Storm. Yeah. But Stephanie Vaquer has that same energy somehow. Not being as built or jacked or as tall, just has that it factor. I don't know how to explain it. She just has it.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple of promos, a couple of vignettes. Rusev and Sheamus ran into each other. They're looking like they're going to run things back after that hard-hitting matchup. Mm-hmm. Karrion Kross called out Sami Zayn, saying, "I don't want you to come back until you'll admit I was right." and the New Day and Grayson Waller gifted Adam Pearce some toupees. Some great entertaining things here. Matt, I'll go to you. I want to talk about New Day and Grayson Waller. One, New Day in mourning is hilarious. And two, what happened to Austin Theory? Why is Grayson Waller with New Day? Did I miss something?
I hope it's for the right reason because they finally realize he's his own superstar and should not be in this BS comedy tag team best buddies rom-com. Okay.
Yeah.
So let Homeboy be the comedy joke to be adding towards New Day's crap. Okay. Because I think that guy's a star. I think he is a future main eventer. I still do. I do. WWE screwed with him a lot of times. They should have never let Cena say the things that he said to him. I'll always argue that. John knows better than that, but he still did it and will hide behind the defense of, well, if he wasn't ready. John, nobody did the same crap to you. You had Kurt Angle set you up in your very first match with a basic A squared plus B squared equals C squared Pythagorean theorem, basic mathematics promo to get you over in your first match. You should have done the same thing with him. And I was very pissed that John did this to him because it's always been downhill for him since. If you go back and watch, even though he beat him, it's still that promo killed him. And I didn't think that was cool. And John didn't need to do it. He wasn't coming back for a long. I didn't like it. Anyways, back to what you were saying. New Day. Would you say in what?
In mourning with their black outfits, and
that was funny. That I could admit was funny. That was funny. Yeah.
Kofi looked totally different too. Like I like. I thought it was pretty good. It was entertaining.
You liked him with the Wicked Witch hat? That was good.
It
was funny. It was funny. It was funny.
Raj, this is something that has been on my mind lately, and it's Karrion Kross. And he is doing horrible things. He's attacking one of the fan favorites, one of the most beloved fan favorites. He's saying all these mean things, trying to break up like beloved teams. Yep. But when he comes out there, I'm hearing the crowd chanting, "We want Kross," and they're cheering for this guy. Is this like, should they be turning him face? Should they be like, it's a weird thing that you have a guy who's literally doing just bad things and people are cheering for him.
I just don't know how his character would work as a babyface right now. So I don't keep him as a heel. You keep him at that rapid, incline. And if people are cheering him, so be it. But just keep doing what you're doing, because every time he's getting more and more over each week. And, you're not overexposing him. You're not giving too much. You're giving just enough that our fans are wanting more. And I think it's working.
Yes, it is. And here's the thing. It's a lot of it you got to remember is that WWE is historically dating back to Zack Ryder with climbing over a fence saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm trying to get over, bro." Like those videos, they still have not learned their lesson on talents getting themselves over on social media with their own videos and their own creativity. And this guy's poured a crap load of his own money into getting himself over with who he truly is in real life. Kevin, he's incredibly impressive. I know him personally. I've been at speaking engagements with him. Like off the record, he's incredibly intelligent, like way more intelligent than what we see on WWE television. But my point is, he's that creative as well, which I never was this creative. I wish I was, where he can get himself over without being on a lick of WWE television. So they have to answer that. They have to answer the bell, because now WWE's in a much different place than it was when I was there. When I was there, they were not listening to the fans whatsoever. If the fans got hooked on somebody, tough. Like when Vince McMahon gave me my starting character. Hey, Vince, literally 6 months ago, I was here as part of Team Lesnar on Survivor Series. Biggest team of Survivor Series history, and I cut promos. Yeah, I tell them what to think. Okay, good talk, sir. So like it's much different place today. Thank God. But like they are historically known for not listening to talent that they don't want to get over, eventually get themselves over when they're not ready for that talent to get themselves over. It's the stupidest oxymoron in wrestling history. And I think now they can't do that with Hunter in charge and others in charge. They do listen to the fans finally. So when those fans were going berserk for him and chanting, "We want Kross," and he played it up, I was like, get it. I texted him immediately, like, go get that shit. I was so proud of him. He's a heel, he's a face. I don't know, honestly. I think he's somewhere in between, and let the fans decipher that for us.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the Stone Cold thing, where he was still the same guy he was before, but now he's just beating up guys we don't like instead of beating up guys we do like.
Touche. Yeah.
We get to the end of the show. I mean, I should say we start earlier on with Paul Heyman reminding us that Paul Heyman has a year to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Braun Breaker is going to win the gauntlet later tonight. During Gunther's victory lap speech, Heyman comes out and calls Braun Breaker a Steiner, which is pretty cool. I liked it. But then we get the gauntlet match. Braun beats Penta. Braun beats LA Knight. Braun beats Jey Uso with the help of Bronson Reed. And then he almost beats Punk, but Punk gets the win. We get a post-match beatdown with the OTC returning and laying waste to everybody. So there's a bunch of stuff that went down here with this main event angle throughout the night. Matt, I'm going to go to you and start at the beginning. Was it just me, or were you getting I was getting goosebumps watching Paul Heyman talk to Gunther that way?
I agree. Yes, I did too. It reminded me of Brock. It reminded me how he started getting over Brock and lumping everybody over the head with, this is the next big thing. And he didn't say he's going to be the next world champion. He's going to say he's going to be a long reigning World Heavyweight Champion, which I really love that element to it. And if I could just quickly answer our friend Mike Martin podcast, we didn't have social media to get us over back in the day. They actually got themselves over with work. Wrong. I made my example and my analogy of Zack Ryder. We most certainly had social media and YouTube back then with Z True Island Story with Zack Ryder, who was the first of any wrestler to essentially put himself out there and make these little clips, these little stories, because WWE was treating him like a jabroni, a jobber. He did Enhancement versus me, for example, in his first match. Okay. And they started taking him seriously, kind of, sort of, when they had no choice to. When Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in the middle of the ring in Survivor Series, he's having a match, about to cut a promo, and the entire arena chanting, "We want Ryder." And it made them, again, continue to look at those other outlets, that these talents getting themselves over. So they did have social media, not in my day, but back in Zack Ryder's day, they most certainly did. But I agree with you. I love what they were doing with Braun Breaker and how Paul gassed them up. Paul's the best in the world at doing this. He did it in my own debut with me and Nathan Jones together, as we were eventually going to be Brock Lesnar's heavies. Not that he needs heavies, but therein lies the heat, right?
Right.
And he did the same thing. He called me his number one draft choice on SmackDown. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Eric Bischoff, I'll scoop you both. Immediately, he got me over that night with that 10-second part of the promo. That's what he does. No, Matt, I was wrestling. You borrow a sig from us outside from us. Great, good story. Go back and watch Z True Island Story. Again, it happened after I was done wrestling.
Yeah,
keep going.
Those, by the way, those people are not those people. The wrestlers today still kind of follow and copy what Zack Ryder did all those years ago. The Z True Long Island Story. It's still like a blueprint for people now. It's at least like on different levels of wrestling.
Of course, it is. It really is. He's the first one. Go ahead, Raj. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's different strokes for different folks, right? Some people can get over with social media. Some people can get over with vignettes. Some people it's promos. Some people it's just their aura. But yeah, using whatever tools you can to get yourself over when they're available makes total sense.
So,
hey, let me ask you guys a question. Could fans read these or no?
Yeah, if you're in the chat, you can see what people are writing.
All right, so let me ask this. Mike is keep going back. So we're going to, put it back. Nope. When I was wrestling, Matt, you borrowed a cigarette from us outside of TNA, hoping we weren't recording convo. I still have the convo. Good story. Great story. Did you tell the rest of the fans I had just gotten out of drug rehabilitation at the time? So, yeah, I was still coming down from having to abuse painkillers and overdosing 7 times. So, yeah, I smoked a cigarette for that year. Kill me. Bet you weren't expecting that, Mike. Keep going.
See, so when you're on the show, when you come to the show, folks, be a part of the chat. We will respond to what you say.
I punch back 10 times harder when you lie or exaggerate. I'm not saying he's lying, but he's exaggerating here and dissing my boy Zack Ryder, which I am not a fan of.
During this match.
Yeah, good recovery.
Speaking of calling people out, we have the Gauntlet match, Raj, and I love how this got over Braun. I thought this did an incredible job we talked about earlier, but the pessimistic side of me is looking at this. I'm thinking, man, Penta took an L. LA Knight, who just got a huge win over Seth Rollins, took an L. Jey Uso, the former world champion, took an L. Like, it feels like a lot of people took losses in this to get where we were going. Is that something I should just say, hey, Jack, it's wrestling, don't worry about it? Or is there could we have done this without putting L's on so many people?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the Gauntlet match, right? Like, only one person wins at the end. No problem. But yeah, that's the problem with Gauntlet matches is people got to take L's. But that being said, no one's going to remember it, 3 weeks from now where they're like, LA Knight, even though he won, he lost in that Gauntlet match. It's wins and losses. When done right with your top stars like Roman Reigns or something, you should protect them. So when they eventually lose, it means something. But none of those guys were being seriously protected. So
True. Yeah, I agree.
And of course, the big story, the thing at the end, the OTC, the tribal chief, throw up the ones, Roman Reigns comes back, is in the ring with Jey Uso and CM Punk there at the end. We've speculated a bit on where this could go. But Matt, how big of a deal is it that Roman Reigns is back in WWE?
The rhetorical question. The biggest news. It's the biggest news that company could possibly get. With him even part-time, he's the biggest star by far and away. He's the biggest box office star in that company by far and away. And I will throw – I love Cena. I love his retirement thing. It's not even close to the important, in my opinion, as a fan, of Roman Reigns being part of the storylines. WWE had never been better, in my opinion. God, since growing up watching in the 80s with like Hogan and Mr. Wonderful, etc., and all my feuds I liked, and then to the Attitude Era with Stone Cold and The Rock, I'm going to throw Roman Reigns on that same category of bringing WWE back, being cool as crap again, raising it up with that Bloodline storyline with had other elements to it like Sami Zayn and others that made it work. But it was always Roman. He was everybody else was in orbit around him. And I'll be honest. I don't know if you guys, did you hear his music first hit tonight? Because I did not. I completely missed it. I'm like, holy it's Roman Reigns. Like, I did not hear his music first hit for like the first few cues of his music.
I heard the music, but
it sounded different. Was it different or was it just the new version of it?
They've tweaked it a few times, I think.
Yeah. I just got to say, remember those years and years ago when Roman and Cena first started feuding, when they did their first feud, and Cena was so far ahead of Roman, right? And he was kind of burying him. I mean, they had Roman beat Cena, but Cena was just so far ahead. I think now in today's WWE on TV, not overall, John Cena is one of the biggest stars in the world, but on a wrestling show, as far as importance to that show, I think Roman Reigns is a bigger star than John Cena right now.
Can I answer one more question? Because this guy's an absolute jabroni, and I'm going to smack the crap out of him here.
Yeah.
So Mike Martin podcast, again, I'm giving you a lot of hype here for what your podcast probably has 3 followers on it, but I'm going to give you 5 here with this. It says, remember how you told us you were supposed to win the Tough Enough deal, but your drug problem got you hurt and kept you out. Oh, when you were traveling with Orton, getting pulled over, smoking. JS Bro. I don't know what the hell that means. So
that's a good impression.
So let me answer this really quickly. When I was on Tough Enough, never touched a drug in my life. I was 340 pounds getting ready for an NFL combine to try out for the Rams as an old lineman, which was not my position, by the way. So when I did Tough Enough, I was out of shape and a fat, you know what. You can watch your clips for yourself, folks. You'll see me. You won't even recognize my face because it's a kickball head with way too much water weight and body. But I tore my knee on Tough Enough. Got signed by WWE while Tough Enough 2 was still going on. Blessed me. And then when I got pulled up to the main roster is when I started, because I hurt my back F5 in the big show. But you know more than me, Mike. God forbid, don't listen to the guy that was in my body at the time. And I had back spasms for the first time. And when I did that, that's when I turned to painkillers and got very addicted to them. Overdosed 7 times. I'm glad you think that's a cute thing to make fun of. But you don't know your ass from your elbow. And most importantly, Randy Orton was on Raw while I was on SmackDown. Thanks for playing.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Bye-bye, Mark.
So thanks for your contributions, Mike.
What a clown. I know we're not supposed to be getting on fans of this show, but I'm sorry. Anybody that watches anything I do, I call a spade, and this clown box is spade. Thanks for playing.
So, yeah.
Fun of my drug addiction? What a loser. You made fun of my ADHD too? What a dick. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, we want to be interactive with the fans here, and so we always want to try to.
No, I'll take it, but I'm going to punch back harder if you're incorrect and you're lying.
Well, I'm going to say, just be a little respectful when you're in the chat. If you're someone who's in the chat,
no, don't gas me up so I can.
Well, there you have it, folks. find the worst things you can find on Matt Morgan. If you're going to talk to me, I only want flattery.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I just want flattery.
No, go after those two guys. Make lives about them. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Bill.
But this was a crazy week in wrestling. A lot of stuff obviously happened, and it really feels like, Raj, that we talked about the pivot with Seth Rollins. It feels like this is a pivot point for wrestling for the rest of at least the summer and springtime. Any final takeaways?
Yeah, I thought it was a really strong episode of Raw. Really sets up the next few weeks. And yeah, it's really gets the ball rolling for SummerSlam. And it looks like Roman's going to be on Raw, which is nice because Raw is kind of, with Seth being out, it needs another star. It can't just be on Punk and Gunther. You got Cody and Cena, two giant superstars on SmackDown. So having Roman on Raw really helps it out as far as star power goes. So that'll be great.
Yeah, I think they did a good job realigning that with Naomi also, just to get a few more stars on Raw. Because I felt like, SmackDown was very star heavy for a little bit. Matt, what say you? Any final thoughts on the week in wrestling?
It was outstanding. It really was. And again, we got to give AEW their props. I thought they owned the night. I do. They owned the 3 or 4 day weekend going into it, in my opinion, with that All In Texas pay-per-view. I loved it.
Good week. And by the way, good debut show. I think we all deserve a pat on the back, Barry Horowitz style. And I think that everyone in the chat who joined us deserves one as well. Besides Mike, I should say. But Steven, George, Jacob, Fernando, Vincent, Akshay, Joseph, thank you guys so much for coming through and being a part of the show. And in the chat set as well. A lot of others, can't name everyone, but I always like to shout people out for being supportive. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Raj, where can the world find you and all the other stuff you're working on?
Just follow me on Twitter at the Raj Giri and check out Practical Money, practicalmoney.co. And yeah, this was fun. Again, first episode. It's going to take us a little time to grow this, so we appreciate it. If you like, subscribe, leave a comment, do what you can, and we appreciate it.
And Matt, how about yourself? Where can the world find you and all the other stuff you're working on?
BP Matt Morgan, Twitter, BP Matt Morgan, Instagram, and Matt Morgan on Facebook. I have 2 different Facebook pages. I'm an elected official in the city of Longwood, Florida. Been here since 2017, reelected in 2020, reelected in 2024. So that one is, I want to say Matt Morgan for Longwood. That's like my political page, so you're probably going to be bored by that crap, so don't watch that. Wrestling fans, just go to my normal Facebook page, Matt Morgan.
And of course, you can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. Again, this is our first show, so like, comment, share, subscribe. We always say that stuff, but this is important to grow the show. We appreciate all of you for being with us. We'll be back next week, once again, right after Raw, and we'll see y'all there. Make sure to follow all the Podcast Heat Wrestling shows. That does it for us. I'm now going to hit that end stream button.